Hello, everyone. Hello, Tech Talk Worldwide. Hello, Miss Becky. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I better change that
Oh,
up to this afternoon. Good afternoon. Good day.
yes, good day.
So we're back to another month of coffee talk, and Becky and I came up with the idea of talking about price increases because that's big in our group right now. It's something that we know October is a good time. If you haven't raised your price, it's a good time to raise your prices, and then we have lots of ideas of what you can do for all year round. And so, as if you have questions along the way, please ask questions. Becky and I are here to answer as many as we can. And if you're here on replay, just type in hashtag replay and then tag our names to it so we'll give us a notification so that we too can come on. I can tell you, Becky and I both have a little virus going around. And so we were teased that we caught it online, but so please forgive us today. We both have this lovely rasp.
Yes, we do.
So, Becky, what is kind of some tips that you have about price increases and why do you choose October?
I like to choose October because I think a lot of nail techs make the mistake of doing it in January at the beginning of the year. If you think about it, if you do it in October right before the holidays, not many people will get their nails right before the holidays. They want to look good. Halloween's fun. Thanksgiving is a must because they're around lots of family members. And of course, Christmas and New Year's, all the Christmas parties and the New Year's parties, they want to look good during the holidays. So they're not going to give up on services typically during that time of the year. So that's the time that you want to hurry and get those prices changed if you're going to change them for the year. January is a huge mistake. You always think of, okay, the new year, new beginnings, yada, yada. Well, that's great for everything else except for your prices because what happens in January is things slow down in January for us typically. People start getting their credit card bills for Christmas, everything they charged, all the bills start coming in and they're like, whoa, wait a minute, I've got to cut something out. Taxes are going to be due soon. So they start panic mode. So that's a horrible time to raise your prices is in January because people typically will give up their nails if they need to, if they're in a situation financially. So October is what I like to do. Um, and I raised last October. So for right now, I took a huge, huge, huge jump in my prices. So this year, I'm not raising my prices, but typically, like I said, that's what I like to do.
Yeah, yeah. And it's smart. I know Holly Shippers talks about doing it in October as well. And so what I found is it typically runs for techs who already have a built-in clientele to
Exactly.
have to raise their prices. They've limited to what they specialize in.
Mhm.
They're not offering as much of a variety of services. And so therefore, you still have to give yourself some sort of a raise, whether you do it annually or every so often. Michelle already asked us, how much notice do you give when you do a price increase like that?
What I do is I only give 30 days. So, what I did last year is I have a cute little sign right by my desk. I sent out an email to all my clients. If you are keeping good client records, which you should, every time someone comes in, you should already be collecting that email right at their first appointment. So
Yeah.
you can just send that. It takes the awkwardness out of it because they get that email, they read it in the privacy of their own home, wherever, and they already know it. It's not face to face with you. Then when they come in for their appointment, the reminder of the sign is right there. So again, if they have any questions, they can ask you, but it's really not debatable. Like there's nothing to discuss about it. It's just what it is. So I think 30 days is plenty. It really is plenty. I know we've talked about this before. Um, we feel like we need to let them know, and it's something that they're budgeting on. So it's a little different. But, like you said, the stores and stuff like that, Starbucks doesn't tell us when they raise the lattes by 10 cents. They don't announce it. The gas stations don't put out a big sign and say, hey, in 30 days, guess what? Gas is going up 50 cents. So you better fill up your tank now. They don't let you know that. Okay. Obviously we're a little bit more intimate. People are, it's a luxury to have your nails and toes done. So I feel like it's common courtesy to give them 30 days. That's good enough.
Yeah.
Plenty.
Yeah. And so I have a lot to share with that as well, but quickly, Shamazing is on here, which I got to meet her this year. I love her. She wants to know what is a huge jump. And so
I
do
went
you
up,
want to share what you changed?
yeah, I went up $10. But the
Hmm.
reason why I did that is because I was completely booked. I was hoping to cut back on some clientele. And I personally was tired of trying to figure out from client how much I was going to charge them for nail art. Um, Typically, my clients don't go too overboard. They're just pretty much an accent now. It's not something that I have to mark out extra time for. Um, so, what I decided to do, what personally worked for me, was I'm going to go up $10 and I'm going to include their little basic nail art that they get. Now, I do have the rule that if you are getting rhinestones, anything like embellishments and things like that, or all 10 nails, something that's over the top like that, then I'm going to charge them extra. But typically, my clients are really just basic salon nails. A lot of people never ever get nail art. And then if they do, it's maybe slap on some foil or, just simple hand painting stuff, but it's not like portraits of people. So to me, I was like, I'm going to bump it up there. It's going to cover all those little tiny costs of nail art. Um, so that I don't have to sit there and try to tell them each time. It also covers, one or two broken nails. Anything over that, then I'm starting to add for. But that's just me personally because I got tired of the awkwardness of trying to figure it all out. But like I said, they do know that so many broken nails and extreme art is going to be extra. But that's kind of my little balloon pricing of what I did. So it works personally for me.
Yeah. And then my business is a little bit different. So every single one of my clients get artwork, and it's no longer just flares or a little something on a ring finger. They're doing 4 accent nails, and the rest of them have foiling on them. Like if you guys watch my stuff at all, my clients do a lot of art. And so I had to learn the cost breakdown of what art really was and the time that it took me and where I wanted my minimums to be. Um, I teach online workshops of keeping profits in your pockets. And so, Michelle, to answer your question, you said you wanted to know how much you should charge. Well, you should know what your costs are so that you know where you need to be profitable, because everybody's different.
Yeah.
So, like, I charge less than Becky, but by the time that my clients charge, I charge them extra for the stones and the time and everything like that. Sometimes my fills are where Becky's costs are. But if you went across the board and just asked somebody, like somebody messaged me the other day and said, Amy, what do you charge for all your services? And I'm like, well, let's talk details. What products do you use compared to what I use? How much time does it take for you to do the same service that I do? And so when we got down to it, she was like, I had no clue. I was just going to charge what you charged. And I thought, I've been doing nails for 27 years and you've been doing nails for 3 years. Should you be charging the same thing I charge? But the reality is my basic fills are still $38. My full sets are $75. I do charge average of what other people do. But I do charge extra when it comes to art and all of that. So when you're setting your prices, it's difficult because you need to know your costs. And so you can't just compare your prices to everybody else down the street. Maybe their overhead is different. Maybe they buy in bulk with other salons together and you're buying not in bulk, and then your cost is higher. There's so many factors that play into that. So you can't just charge what everybody else charges for the same thing. Um, so to answer, Michelle was the one that said that, what is fair, price increase? And what's fair is how much do you want to make per hour? How much is your overhead? How much is your product cost? How much is your table cost? And what's fair is what's fair for you. And so it's kind of hard to answer questions like that.
It is hard because, too, when I based my prices on when I went up is, well, obviously, like I said, I wanted to cut down people and I did the math and I was like, hey, if I go up $10 a person service, I can lose 12 people off of my books a month and still make the same amount of money, which means I'm working smarter, not harder. I don't want to work 6 days a week. I don't want to work 10 to 12 hour days. I'm done with that. I'm past that in my life. I don't want to do that. I focus on education. I have my online classes. I do one-on-ones. I travel. I teach. I do shows. Um, I want more time for that to set me up for my retirement and this and that. Like, I don't want to be behind the chair. So I was like, I can lose 12 people and still make the same amount of money. I lost 2 people. And then all of a sudden I got flooded with a whole bunch of phone calls for new clients. So, and I don't know if we're froze. Hopefully everyone can
Nope.
still see what we're doing. Okay. So it didn't work on cutting down my clientele like I was hoping it did. But I also looked at it and was like, I want to make this much a week doing nails. I work the 3 days a week. This is how much I want to make. And that's how I figured also what I needed to charge. I know, like I said, I know my product and how much it is per service and things like that. I've done nails 26 years. So I know that part of it, but that's another thing. It's not just, I mean, like, you need to figure out, like, what do you want to make an hour, guys? Because how many of you are really, if you even know your table costs, if you even know that information, how many of you are making minimum wage?
Mm-hmm.
Did you get into nails to make minimum wage? Because I sure in the heck didn't. I
No.
could go to Walmart and get a job, and no, I don't want to do that. I want to make good dang money. Can you make good dang money at nails? You absolutely can. But
Yeah.
first of all, you got to be good at what you do. You got to, keep up on your education, get educated, because you can't charge a bunch of money, in my opinion, if you don't know your craft. Like, you need to be good at what you do first off, right? And then get that clientele full, get your books full, and then you know what I'm saying? You can start going up from there. But I promise you, you won't lose a bunch of people. You might lose a couple,
Mm-hmm.
but what you're charging with your new prices way beyond makes up for that. So you've got to
Yeah.
quit being scared of that. Too many of us are just so scared of raising our prices. It's ridiculous. And I was scared to death. $10 is a huge amount. That's huge. And I was scared to death. And like I said, it worked out for the best. And I was like, whoa, I can't believe that. And wow, now I'm making this much money a week. Oh my gosh, I'm like so excited about it. Um, so one thing, that's a big thing I would say, is quit being scared, guys, because you're not for everybody and you're not in everyone's budget, but you're going to attract people that can afford you. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. So Carrie's on here and she said that she did a $10 increase last October with you. And the same thing, she had one client who no longer tips. That's it.
Not
Our
great.
fear holds us back from being who we know we can be. If I
Yes.
worked in this industry and you did, as long as we did, if we were with any other company, on average, we would get $1 a year raise that we worked for them. So after 27 years, you would be making $27 plus whatever the minimum wage is, which in Wyoming, we're at $7.25. So I'd be making, 30 some dollars an hour. I do make that now
Yep.
because I finally realized that if I was at any other job, I would be respected. I would be up in management, just like what I am in the industry. I'm
Yeah.
respected. I'm a business owner. I'm expert in my field, and we need to be compensated. So even if you looked at it as $1 a year above minimum wage, are you there? Now, however, if you know your costs, you know that sometimes that's not always the case. Your overhead costs can break everything. And if you're not
Yeah.
charging for nail art and all of that. So
Or if you're not being careful with your budgeting for your business, because
yeah.
how many times do you go to nail shows and such? I know this is off of subject, but and you just buy up all this stuff. You buy up all this nail art stuff, everything you see, it's just like, oh my gosh, and you're online, and every time the newest, latest, and greatest thing comes out, you just buy it. You
Mhm.
know, I've learned the last year or two, I start to focus a little bit more on, and I think about it before I make that purchase. Okay, that's awesome. This is the latest and greatest. It just hit the market. Okay, should I buy it? And then I have to think, would my clients really get that? And what would I charge for that to make up for that? Like, you really have to think about it, because I have thousands of dollars of stuff sitting right here. And some of that stuff I don't ever use. I've never used. And
Mhm.
really think about your clientele. Are you going to use it? Before you make those crazy purchases. I just
Yeah.
think that's so important.
Yeah, the suppliers almost make us feel like it's a need. We need this. And if we get this one product, we're going to make millions. No, they're going to make millions because we're going to buy it. Then it's up to us to convince our clients to pay extra to use it. And
Right.
so know where your limits are as well. Are you a good salesperson? Are
Yeah.
you one that's willing to, say, hey, I need an extra $10 to use this new, this new product. Do you want it? Yeah, that's hard to do. It's hard to upsell ourselves like that.
Mhm, mhm. You know, and
Yeah.
then I heard the saying I just heard lately. Actually, I'm taking Tiffany Cordoza's on my social media class right now, but she had a quote in there that said, something to the effect that your um, value is not determined by your client's pocketbook. So when you decide to raise your prices, you have to take the personal, you have to take that out of your mind about worrying about such and such client. That's
Hmm.
not what we base our prices on. We don't base our prices on whether our clients can afford it or not, because you'll be surprised what they can afford and what they can't afford, and you'll be shocked. So
Hmm.
take that out of the equation. Don't think about that. It's your business. You're not doing this as a hobby. You didn't get into this just to have your friends and family over every night and do everything for free. So treat your business like a business and charge what you need to be charging so that you can stay in the business. We can't stay in the
Yeah.
business if we're not making money. We can't. Why would you?
Absolutely. So I apologize. There's a lot of comments, Becky, that are
Oh,
coming through. And so I'm trying
okay.
to pick just the questions that are on here. And obviously the topic that's coming up is that a lot of people are saying that they feel like they need to compare themselves to the walk-in salons. No, you don't. And I can't tell you how many times I know that Becky and I have been live saying, and I'm looking at the camera instead of at Becky on my screen. You are not in competition with the walk-in salons. We never, ever will be. Okay. We cannot compete with the products that they're using. We don't even know what products they're using. We cannot compete with the overhead that they put in there because half the time they're sleeping in their salons because that is their home as well. They bring in all these people to cover all of this cost. We cannot compete with them. And you know what? I don't want to compete with them. I like that my clients don't want to be around all the people. They don't want all the noise. They don't want to be another number. They want an appointment. And when they have an appointment, I'm ready at that time. It's a home environment. They want one-on-one. And more as society is changing, we're doing more online. The more that we're doing grocery pickup, the more that we're doing Amazon orders and things like that, the more we take ourselves away from these big groups where we don't know the people, the more and more we appreciate more the one-on-one customized service. And people are willing to pay for that. That's why a lot of these super high-end clothing stores, a super high-end spa salons are getting busier and busier now because they've learned to create that private setting for that person. That's a luxury. We are not competing. Our luxury is not a walk-in place like that. We are not them a number. We know their name. We know them personally. They're our friends. And so therefore, rise up and be that. Do not say that you are competing with a walk-in because you are not.
Get that out of your mindset. Those are not the clients I want. Those are not the clients I want. They're not the clients you should want, guys. Those are not
Yeah.
it. And there's enough fish in the sea for all of us. There are clients that's what they dig, that's what they want, but that's not who I seek after. I never ever, and you should never ever feel like you're in competition with those salons. Get that out of your head right now, because they're attracting that
Yeah.
clientele. You can step up above and rise up, and you can attract the higher end clientele. Trust me on this. Like, trust us. You are not in
Yeah.
competition with at all. Get it out of your heads right now.
And here's another thing that I want you to look at, okay? Here's a proven fact. We did a big study this last year for the Keeping Profits in Your Pockets class. And I made everybody go into 3 of their competitors, walk in, not just call and get their prices, walk in and rather get a service or talk to them, say, this is the nail that I want. Like, just like your client does to you. This is my Instagram or my Pinterest picture. This is what I want. How much are you going to charge me? And guess what the average was? $75, and that was on a fill to come close to what's on the picture. Or they would say, we don't do that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do that to your client? Do you say, well, I just don't do that? Or are you going to say, hey, I'm going to give it a try. I don't know yet what it's going to cost because I need to look at the products. I won't be able to do it on this appointment because I didn't mark off enough time. But by your next appointment, I can mark off enough time so they know it's going to take more time. They know it's going to take more product and that you're going to give it a try, as the other ones weren't even going to give them a try. So we did this test, and that's the result that came back. On average, it was a minimum of $75. Do you know then the confidence that they had to raise their prices to be able to justify that picture? So do your homework. I call it the Reebok walk. Put on your Reeboks, go into these other salons that you think are your competition, walk in with a picture of an average work that you do and ask them. And you know what's interesting too is they'll say, "Oh, it has to be a new set." And so they're going to charge you, their sign outside says $18 fill or $20 fill. But really what they're going to end up charging you is $60 before you walk out. But they don't tell you that in the beginning. We do. We're honest with them.
Yeah,
So clients want honesty.
that's
So do the Reebok walk and see what happens
and that's
comparing.
that's the whole thing there, Amy, is like we see only what's on their outside window. And like you said, when you go in there, if you've never been to a discount salon, is whatever, you have no idea, because if they usually typically if they shorten your nails, they charge you a few extra dollars. If they put even just with a dotting tool a little flower in the corner, they charge you $5 more. If any broken nails is extra. If they want I went and got a pedicure one. Do you want the salt scrub? Do you want the scrub on your legs? Well, yeah, I do. That's $5 more. I include that in my spa service for my pedicures. They upsell every single thing. So they're not cheaper than you guys. You just see their outside window. That's not how it works. So don't be
Yep.
fooled by that. But still, you're not their competition at all.
Yeah. Yesterday I went live on a whim. I did a pop-up live, and that's what I talked about was marketing yourself and upselling. And so if you guys want to know what we mean by upselling, and whether it's with retail or upselling with your products or creating something totally different, you can watch the pop-up that I did yesterday. So I'm going to share with you what I do. So what happened is I was a salon owner for many years. On average, I had anywhere from 5 to 9 nail techs. So I had the variety. So I had me that I'd been booked all the time, but then I had the brand new techs that were charging maybe a little bit less till they got their experience there and their expertise in it. And then they would have to start charging more. Well, then it was like, how do you raise your prices? For me, it was one of those that I would just raise it when I kind of needed to every now and then. But for the techs that were building their clientele, they were having to do some different price hikes. Now they're getting more into art, and now they're getting into better retention. Now they're getting into more expensive products and more trainings. And so it kind of took me across the board. And at that time, I always compared my spa salon to like an Aveda spa salon. And I would check out their prices. And then I realized that every time there was a price increase, they never told me there was a price increase. One day my massage was 60, another time it was 65. And I just paid for it. But I realized that what they did is they always made a package deal. And then that's what I started having my girls in my salon do. So I have examples, and I'm telling you guys, I started this in the 90s and it still works today. I teach this in Keeping Profits in Your Pockets. So if you want to go into more detail, you can go into that. But I'm going to show you a little bit of an example. What I did is I made the names of my services to not be compared apples to apples to another salon services. So for instance, if you go to a spa salon, their package name is not full set, fill, rebalance, pink and white. They have like an extra name, a dazzle, or do you want this to be a spa? And everybody's spa definition is a little bit different. So I did mine by season. And so what happened is every season we came up with a little bit of a different packaging deal so that we can change the prices as needed. So therefore it could be an extra 25 cents. Sometimes it was an extra $5. Sometimes it was an extra $10. But what they were getting wasn't just a service. We were able to spotlight more of what our salon had to offer. So I also had tanning beds, I had facials, I had massage therapist. And so I would work together a thing. So while you were getting your fill, you had different tiers of what you could get. And nobody can compare that. So when people called and said, well, why is your fill 35, but down the street's 30? Well, are they soaking your feet while you're getting your nails done? Well, no. Oh, well, what else? And so then I started spotlighting what we offered in our services. We give you a new file every time you come. We're ready when you have your appointment. So we can do this by walk-in or you can have an appointment. And we started spotlighting the things that made us unique and different. That's all we had to do. We had them. That was it. We just had to educate them the difference. Because as soon as they didn't make the appointment with us and they made it with somebody else, and the other person was running a little bit late, they said, oh, well, would you mind soaking my feet or rubbing my feet too, or matching my toes to match my nails or whatever? Oh, you need another appointment. We can't do that today, or we can't do that. Well, we offered it to them right from the get-go for one price. And so just to give you a quick example, this was one that was for spring. It will be backwards to you guys. I'll post these pictures. I've done it in the past. I'll post the pictures of these into, it won't be into the slide because it won't let us do it in the comments, but I'll make another post to give you an idea of how we made the names different so that every season we can change the prices as we needed to, because sometimes you might need extra things. So for instance, in the wintertime, sometimes if you're doing acrylic, you might have to put a warmer on your table. That's an extra thing that in the summertime, maybe you don't have to do. There's things throughout the season that we have to change with our products. Or sometimes we have to change the products to be better for that season. So for instance, things that if you have high humidity, sometimes you might have to change the type of gel that you use if you're in high humidity versus really dry. And so it's important to know your cost is the baseline, know what you want to make per hour, and then know how to not defeat the system, but kind of work with the system to be able to acclimate that. But the biggest thing is the fear. It's your mindset. And I know, Becky, you're so good at motivating people as well. I love how you put all that together. But a lot of us think this is what, we always think we're going to lose all of our clients. If I raise my prices, I'm not going to have any clients. Well, last year we put out a poll. When you raise your prices, how many clients did you lose? Becky just shared with us she lost 2, but she gained 10. Another person in the comments said she had 1 no longer tip her. Did you lose any clients? So really, where's the fears? Just in your head. So it really is the mindset that you need to change as well. And are you worth what you're charging? Are you giving your best work?
And can I add to that what you said about tipping? Set your prices to where what you want to make without thinking about your tip. Does that make sense? So before I was always like kind of bugged. I know that sounds selfish, but I was kind of bugged when a client wouldn't tip me. Because most of them did. And so I was like always looking for that much money every time I had a service because it was in my mind because most everybody tipped me that much. And so then it would bug me. So then I was like, well, no, I'm going to set my prices then high enough to where what I really want to make every client. And then when they do, and if they do tip me, that is just a bonus. So that you're not depending on the tips and you're not like bugged or butthurt when somebody doesn't tip you. And I
Yeah.
know it's different across the, international. There's some places that don't tip at all and they don't believe in that and they just don't tip that service. That's so again, but for us, like here in the States, tipping is it's kind of the norm, but there are clients that don't, and then that's okay. Like it's okay if they can't tip, that's their budget, but I'm still making what I want to make and what I feel like I deserve to make on my services. So hopefully that helps you when you're trying to think about where you want to put your prices.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you know, we were talking, I was doing a tech talk with somebody and like Becky, we've been in the industry for a long time. So before you raised your prices last year, how much did you charge for a fill when you first got into the industry? Let's say you were in the industry for about 5 years, so you were confident, you know what you're doing. How much did you charge for a fill your 5th year in?
I think I was charging about $22 for a
Okay.
fill.
And then before you raised your prices, how much were you at?
I was at 40.
So you did good. You did raise your prices up through the years.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you guys. So a full set in 1997 charged $50. You know what most people charge right now for a full set? $50. 20 years later, they're charging the same. Our fill price, our manicure was 20 bucks. Guess what we charge these days? 20 bucks. So it's important for us to know that. I mean, product costs have gone up. We know our rent has gone up. Minimum wage has gone up in 20 years. People, all your clients are getting raises every 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, or whatever. Why do we feel like we don't deserve that same type of raise?
It's really frustrating every year when Nails Magazine, I think it's Nails Magazine that puts out the big book that has all the statistics and stuff in it. Like, yeah, when you look at those prices and stuff, it's like, are you serious, people? Like, it frustrates me. But, you know, when I just moved here 4 years ago into this new area and had to rebuild. And then, like I said, I raised last October. And so I felt like I was like the very highest in St. George here in Utah. And so anyways, for the last year, I felt like I've been the highest. Well, I had someone just message me a week or two ago, another nail tech here, and she's like, "Hey, you know, I'm calling around, texting everyone, trying to find out like what's everyone charging because I'm getting ready to raise my prices." She's moving into a new place, you know, and she was actually going to raise $5 higher than me and $10 more higher on her full sets than me. And I was like, yes. And I was like,
Yeah.
I am so happy for you. Like, that's so awesome. And I'm like, well, what are you finding? And she's like, I'm finding that there are a lot of people that have finally gone up, and there are some that are higher than me that, you know, and so she's like, I'm bumping up to that price. And I'm like, thank you. So guys, quit trying to undercut each other. Like, why would you do that? Instead of trying to be lower than the other nail tech in town, come up to their standard and charge what they're charging. That way your whole town, whatever city, state, can raise their prices and you're all making more money, and that's going to be the standard for what they can get. Why would you undercut and keep going and staying lower? Like, get your prices up there. And especially when I hear people that are like, I haven't raised my prices in 5 to 10 years. It's like, are you kidding me right now? Like, get the change right now. Get it done. Like, quit waiting, quit fearing. You're fearful of the unknown. Like, it's not even like you said. So if you lose one or two clients, big deal. Big deal.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't matter.
I had a card from years ago from when my girls were raising their prices every now and then, and we would just say, you know, the product costs that we use have gone up, and so has obviously, you know, insurances and overhead costs and all of that. So, um, and for some reason we put in there. So I greatly apologize, but your next service will be an additional $2 or you know whatever it would be. And it was interesting that we were saying, I'm sorry that all this stuff has gone up and now I have to go up too. And I found out that we needed to be unapologetic. We are still offering a hands on, customized, personalized service for these people. We shouldn't be apologizing. We should be celebrating that we still take the time to do this and pamper them, because so many other types of companies are becoming so automated and, you know, just the basics, that we're going still up and beyond. And so I remember saying, I'm never going to put I'm sorry in
Never.
that again.
Mm-mm.
I will put the facts in there, you know, with the rising costs, our costs to go up. So your next appointment, the amount will be this. But how do you write your price increase letter? What does it say?
I don't even say anything about prices or costs or anything. I just say effective October 1st, 2019 is what I did last year. This this is the new menu prices. I listed the menu and their prices. Thank you at the
Yeah.
bottom. Like, there is no explanation. There is no sorry. There is no this is why or that's why. It's just that's it. And then I only had one
Yeah.
client that sat down and was like, "Oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to afford that." And I said, "That's okay. I can refer you to another nail tech in town." I said, well, before I said that, I said, you know, you only come every 3 weeks and you get hard gel. Like, there are many clients that only come every 4 weeks, and that would save you this many fills a year, which would make the difference for the price increase. So if you want to change your appointments to every 4 weeks, we can do that. If you'd rather not do that, I can refer you to another nail tech in town that I feel comfortable referring you to, that does gel, that I know does a good job. Like, guys, there's nothing to debate about. Like, it's their choice. It's in their ballpark. Give them the bat. It's up to them. These are your choices. You could do this or you can do this. Make a choice. It's not on me. It's not debatable. Don't
Yeah.
leave it open
Yeah.
for discussion. Don't say, well, you've been with me for 10 years, and so guess what? I won't raise yours because I really want you to stay with me. Is that
They're
being a
gonna.
business person? Does McDonald's tell you, oh, you come through the drive-through every single day, so guess what? We're going to charge you the old price because you've just been a faithful, loyal client. No, they don't, guys, because they're a business. You're a business. You're not just a friend to every single person. Treat your business like a business.
Yes. So very true. So I'm in Wyoming and oil field is our market. We all know that oil field and ranching and stuff. And so obviously a lot of our clients are ranchers' wives and the oil field wives. And so this is the third time in all these years that our oil field has gone down. I mean, one of our biggest ones in here just went bankrupt. They're done. Everything's locked up and gone. And we're talking the biggest companies in the oil field industry are gone. Our coal mine is another one, and our coal mine just shut down. Do you know I've not lost any clients? Just like as you said, they're maybe not getting the art, they're going longer between their fills, but they're still getting their nails done. And if you go back to the old days of the Depression, do you know those men still pressed their suits and they still put their suits on? They didn't have a job. They would give the illusion that everything is fine. And for some reason with women, we do the same thing. If they've gotten their nails done for years and all of a sudden they're not getting their nails done, people are like, what's wrong? You can't afford it anymore. For some reason, we have the mindset that that's what it is. That it makes me crazy that people judge each other that much. But to keep up with the Joneses, they still get their nails done. They just go longer between appointments. They maybe don't get the artwork done. They might shorten them so they can go longer, but they still get their nails done. That's something that we're blessed as techs that we still get the opportunity, but it does show us that during the hardest times, they're going to give up their lattes. They're going to go longer between their hair appointments. They're going to give up the housekeeper, maybe their movie night, but that nails is still something they do for themselves and somewhat for an appearance. And so work with them on that, tier your pricing to where they have an option to just do a basic one color, shorter nails, no longer the stiletto or, whatever they're on. Learn to do, creative marketing. Like I said, I'll share this with you. And kind of like what Becky said, this is not a hobby. We love what we do and we're fortunate to be able to love what we do, but this is a business and we have to reflect our prices to be profitable, to be in this business for, many years. And thank goodness we can.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Becky, do you have anything else you want to add? I know we try to keep these around 30 minutes. But there are so many comments that are on here that I know we're going to have to go back through replay. So I apologize if we didn't answer it right now. I promise you we will, and then put up pictures and everything else along the way. But I want to read this one though really fast. Kirsten says, how do you go about finding other nail techs in your area that you can refer to? Do you go get a service from them or try to become friends? So Becky, what do you think about that?
Oh, I try to network big time in my city.
Yes.
I don't know if that's just because I'm an educator and I want to, but I want to know all the nail techs in my area. I do not feel like I'm in competition with anyone in my area. I have taken that out of the equation. I am not in competition, not with one of them. I want to help them. I want to know them. And yes, absolutely, get to know them. Follow them on Instagram. Follow them on Facebook. Comment on their work, on their posts. Comment on them. Hey, I'm in such and such town too. I'd really like to get to know you. What services do you offer? I love your work. You've got to follow the other nail techs that are in your area, guys. Get to know each other. It's not a competition. There's enough for everybody. So absolutely get to know them. Get to know them because that's awesome that when you can refer somebody to someone else.
Absolutely. And luckily, so I lived in Casper, which is around 50,000 people, and then I lived in a town of 8,000. And both times I was able to build from the ground up and get all my techs in there. And I've always worked well with others. I don't look at them as competition. I'd rather help my another tech. So I like to know, hey, I specialize in this. What do you specialize in? And then work together, because if you have a client that calls and always wants some sort specific product and they won't come to you unless you have it, I would rather be the one that's knowledgeable enough to say, hey, my friend Becky offers gel nails and I do acrylic, and we have the same, kind of thoughts in the same type of environment and work together like that. And so therefore, then people would refer back to me as well. Or I would sweet talk them and have them come work for me in my salon. And then later on, when I became an educator, it was great to have those connections, because I became an educator on something. It didn't matter what products you worked with, we could still work together. And so I don't try to become friends with them either, though. Like, I have my friends, I have my family that I hang out with the most, so you don't want to become friends and invite them for coffee and go do this. However, you could do something like what Becky's done. Becky, do you want to talk about what you guys do monthly or quarterly?
Yeah, I was doing little meetups with the nail techs in the town, and whether we were just like meeting somewhere and hanging out for a minute, or I was there to kind of help them discuss things, be a mentor for them. Um, and same thing, it was a networking thing so that we could get to know each other better. So if that's something that you need in your area, start it up. It might take a while, you might not have anyone show up for a while, but keep pushing through. And it's just great to be able to know other nail techs in your area.
Yeah. And then likewise, you guys can sit and say, well, I charge this. What do you charge? And I charge this. Well, how do I do that? And I think that it helps each other rise up, like you said, as a community, to where you can charge more, because you realize that you were uneducated. You didn't do your Reebok walk and find out what they have to offer and what are they doing. And I can tell you, if you go to these big box stores and these big salons, you will find that they are upselling and they are grouping things together for one price, so that they cannot be compared apples to apples to somebody's sign that's on the storefront. So do the same thing, be bigger. Even if you're a solo tech, I'm a solo tech in a town of 600 people.
Mhm.
And you know what? It's fabulous. And I have no competition. I can proudly say that I've networked with all of them that are in the surrounding areas of me that people go to. And my clients drive that hour and a half to come see me each way to get their nails done for an hour, and then drive another hour and a half home. It's you got to create something in your niche that's unique. And so I think that I do the same thing as everybody else does in my area. It's me. So you got to sell you. You have to be true to you. Let your environment reflect who you are. Let your menu reflect what you want to do, what you want to specialize in. And it's amazing when you're found that niche and you're back into doing what you love to do. It's amazing how many people are attracted to that and they want to come to you. And that's because you're just being you.
Yep.
All right, my dear Becky. Well, anything else you want to add for today?
Go slay your day. Have a great week.
I love that. Slay your day. That will be our theme for today. Slay your day. All right, we'll post up everything into another post here in Tech Talk Worldwide. You guys, thanks so much for supporting us on Tech Talk Worldwide, Tech Talk Lives, and now we've been doing monthly coffee talks, and we get the feedback from you, and we're inspired because of you. And so we thank you for continuing to inspire us with these topics. So if there's anything that you would like for us to speak about, you want more information on, or you want to do more of a one-to-one, Becky and I both offer those, as well as some of the other admin. And so we're here for you, and we want to build this up together. So thank you guys so very much for always being supportive for us as well. All right.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you. Love you all.
Thank you. Bye.